This is definitely one of those facepalm moments. Panasonic is going to continue with their death from defocus contrast detect autofocus system. This according to 4/3 rumors and their sources. And they do have it rated as an FT4, which means they're 60 to 80% correct. And I'm going to pretty much assume that that's the case. I've been assuming all along that they're going to be stubborn. They're going to stick with contrast detect autofocus system, the death from defocus. I keep calling it death from defocus, but I'm sorry, I mean depth from defocus contrast detect autofocus system. Now, I do want to get one thing out of the way. You'll see in the comments, some people would say that professionals don't use autofocus. Well, that statement's obviously wrong, because there's no such thing as a statement like that generalized, that covers off all professionals. I can cite several professionals like Stop the FOMO, who professionally has a channel and that's what he focuses on. That's his thing, and he uses autofocus. I know many other professionals that use autofocus too. And I get it, in cinema, in TV shows, in that kind of business, you're pretty much pulling focus all the time manually, but you're also dealing with multiple people. You have people that are doing specific tasks, just doing color, just pulling focus, just controlling where the camera moves, all sorts of things like that. But you see, the GH5, the GH6, they're not designed for people in cinema and television shows. They're designed for ordinary filmmakers, hobbyists that want to get really good video. And these cameras are capable of good video, like 5.7 oversampled 4K, 4K 120 frames per second, 10-bit 422. They're really good cameras. They have waveforms and vector scopes. And the only thing that's been holding Panasonic from getting wider acceptance in 2020, 5% of all cameras shipped were Panasonic, not GH5, not S-Series. All of Panasonic's cameras were less than 5% worldwide, and it's the autofocus system that's holding them back. Now, as a professional, if you choose to shoot manual or autofocus, and what I would suggest is a real professional knows when to use what tool, when to use automatic and when not to. 10, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, people would say professionals don't use color or professionals don't use digital cameras. I don't like these comments because they're generalizations and they're not true. Professionals use the tools they need for the job to get it done. And what I strongly believe in, and I do like Panasonic cameras, I'm looking forward to the GH6, but to get wider acceptance out of that 5% worldwide market share, what Panasonic needs to do is appeal to others, because when you got Nikon, you got Canon and Sony doing incredible things with their autofocus system, and now Olympus is saying, yeah, they can do eyes, animal eye, human eye detection, torso, head detection. They can do planes, they can do helicopters, they can do bullet trains, regular trains, and the list goes on. And you've got a system that isn't necessarily reliable or accurate, but time for a reality check. Let's go back to what 4/3 rumors actually says. They are sticking to the depth from defocus autofocus, the contrast autofocus system, but it's going to be AI-based, and it's going to be 5 times better. Now that 5 times better has me, because what do you mean by 5 times better? It sounds to me like some sort of marketing label, 5 times better. Well, I don't care. Is it accurate and reliable? Does it hold the focus point without pulsating? Can it do planes, trains, and automobiles, human eye, animal eye detection? That's what I care. I care about the results. Now we might find out on the 21st now, when Panasonic announces this camera, the autofocus system might be very, very good. And perhaps those pulsations that you get from a DFD autofocus system won't be noticeable to the eye. And I really, really hope so. I came very close to buying the GH5 and then, of course, the Panasonic S1. But after watching a few videos, I started to get a bit of a headache, and I couldn't figure out why. The autofocus system seemed to be absolutely perfect, dialed in 100%. And then I looked to the background, and what I noticed is there was an ever so slight pulsing. Now, the subject didn't appear to pulse in any way whatsoever, but that pulsing in the background made my eyes tired. So even when the S1 did a good job of holding the focus, that pulsing in the background really irritated me. So this artificial intelligence, this new contrast detect, depth from defocus based on artificial intelligence, is it going to deliver the results? Is it going to make it reliable and trustworthy? Every time Panasonic has updated a new camera or come out with a new camera, they've improved upon the autofocus system, but each time it fails to hit. So if you need autofocus, if you're a one-man show like I am, I don't have the time to take 10 to 15 minutes every time I set the camera up to pick that focus again, because every time I turn the camera off and turn it back on again, whatever focus point I set is gone. So now I've got to spend 10 or 15 minutes setting up the autofocus point, and it's really frustrating. I'm a one-person crew. I need a reliable, trustworthy autofocus system, and this is kind of frustrating me. As you can tell, I'm super excited. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I didn't sleep well last night. And I just sort of buried myself in work this morning, and then just as I'm ready to take lunch, I thought, you know, I better check the rumors. There's nothing related to Canon. I thought, I better check 4/3. We might have something on the GH6, and sure enough, we did. And this, I'm frustrated. You know, nobody uses contrast detect in their camera anymore solely for video. Yes, Olympus has it, but they also have a phase detect autofocus system. Everybody has moved on from contrast detect because for video, it just doesn't work. Not when you need to pull focus automatically. And I'm a little bit frustrated. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And if you feel like I'm beating up on Panasonic, well, in a way I am, because for how many years now have we been telling them that DFD autofocus doesn't work? The GH5, I would have bought that camera if it hadn't have been for the DFD. It was terrible when it first came out, and yes, they've made improvements, but when I shoot a video here, if I shoot it for, let's say, 15 or 20 minutes, and then I find out after I take it into post, it starts pulsating, I have only one choice, and that's to go back and reshoot the entire thing over again, because putting out a video that's constantly missing focus is frustrating. It's like publishing a video with bad audio, and I'm not going to do that. Now, if Panasonic could come out with some sort of feature where you could fix the focus in post, well, that wouldn't be such a bad deal. But still, why should we have to fix that in post when Canon does it well, Nikon does it well, Sony does it well, and by all measures right now it looks like that Olympus in their OM-1 is going to do it well as well. But the GH6 does look to be like a video powerhouse. It's going to have vector scopes, waveforms, false colors, 5.7K oversample 4K. It's going to have anamorphic. It's going to do 4K 120. 10-bit 422, it's a very, very powerful camera, and if you don't need autofocus, then the GH6 is going to be a truly very, very powerful camera. But Jesse, I don't know about you, I just feel awfully frustrated, not completely surprised, but I was really, really hoping that Panasonic was going to come out here and have something truly wonderful for us in terms of an autofocus system. But I kind of knew they wouldn't, so I searched for an image of a facepalm that I would put in the thumbnail, because I think once people see that in Panasonic in the thumbnail, they're going to know what this video is all about. And that's why I haven't focused on all the other leaks out. One thing that 4/3 rumors also said is that the rolling shutter is eliminated from the GH6. And I'm not really surprised. A new processor, a new sensor, micro 4/3 sensor, it's pretty easy to do just throwing enough horsepower at it. And I think that kind of indicates what we're going to see in the other capabilities. You know, to have a fast enough system where you don't have rolling shutter, wow, that's going to really make the video more detailed as well. And I think we're going to see better performance and log in the shadows. All sorts of things where we didn't quite have with the GH5 because it didn't have enough power. So I'm really looking forward to seeing, despite all this talk about DFD autofocus, death from defocus contrast detect autofocus system, I still think it's going to be a solid camera. The only question is, and what do you think? Let me know in the comment section down below. Is it going to be enough to attract people outside of the Panasonic ecosystem, or even people who haven't bought their first camera yet? Would you go with Panasonic or one of the above? Let me know in the comment section down below. But that's it for now. Please go ahead and like and subscribe, and we'll see you again soon.